SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Toyota of Brookhaven has been voted best new car dealership in Southwest Mississippi 4 years in a row. Come see the difference. Exit 40 Brookhaven or online at toyotabrookhaven.com. Great service, great savings. At Toyota of Brookhaven, we deliver.
And now, Sports.
Get ready, sports fans. It's time for Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming worldwide on the SuperTalk Mississippi app and on your Amazon Alexa devices. Chasing Foul Balls, your weekly source for all the sports news and interviews important to Southwest Mississippi. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank. And now, here's your host, Robbie Hamilton.
Well, good morning and welcome to CFB Friday morning right here on SuperTalk Pike County. Glad to be with you. Big news to start this morning for us. Our new podcast app is now up and running. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. It has all the previous episodes listed there, so you can go back and listen to any of the previous Chasing Foul programs that you would like to. Our guest today will be Chris Brooks. He will join us along with Cliff Furr. Both of those guys into the entertainment part. They are, I can say, the podcast part and the information part of high school football. So we look forward to talking to those two guys. This morning with us, TP himself, Richard Hay. How are you, sir?
Just fine, Robbie.
Oh, excuse me. Gosh. Filling in for Wes Dudry, am I right? The professor himself, Neil Randall. Kind of surprised me to look over and see you there.
Well, I've been on sabbatical, Robbie.
Oh, no, that ain't where you been. You don't tell where you been, or you just don't tell that story?
I've been 2 or 3 places.
Okay. Okay, we'll take that. Let's go to work, not to talk about this morning, so let's see if we get started. First of all, Saints. Last week, not much luck on the road on the West Coast. Did anybody get to watch the game?
No, I didn't.
I couldn't find it.
Me either.
But didn't look very hard for it.
I looked hard. I couldn't find it. Channel 8 New Orleans carried it, but of course, up here, you don't really get that. So I didn't see it. I saw the highlights, which didn't take long to watch those, to be honest with you, as far as the Saints would go. What do you see the quarterback situation now after 1 week of actually having a game and about? Is Shuck starting to shut the ground, close the ground on Rattler, or is it still Rattler's job, Neil?
You would think it's still Rattler's job, him being the starter last year, but he didn't do anything to cement that. But I'll say this, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought somebody else in. I just, neither one of them, Shuck he's 25 years old, but he's still a rookie.
Robbie, I guess what I took for as you say, the few highlights that I got to see and listening and reading some of the comments was the fact that, Rattler seemed to be vanilla in what they were doing while he was in there. When Shuck was in there, at least they were trying to get the ball down the field a little bit more. I think at the end of the day, if Shuck keeps progressing like they say he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the starting. Maybe they start Rattler the first game or two, but I think eventually before the end of the season, Shuck's going to be the starting quarterback.
Well, of course, Rattler played with the number ones. Shuck played with mostly 2s and 3s in his chance on the field, so they'll probably switch that this week. You'll get to see Shuck probably play with the ones and really kind of see what he can do. What kind of crowd they'll have this week in the Dome? Is it going to be a big crowd or?
I'd probably say if they had 40 to 50,000, I'd be surprised.
Mr. Randall, what do your guess at the crowd this week?
I think Richard's pretty close there. I think 50 would be a nice number for them. Saints hadn't been very exciting for a while, and they didn't excite anybody last week. And of course, in their defense, they had some starters they were holding out for one reason or another. So I don't know how that'll play out this week, but I hope it'll be for the better.
All right, here's our question of the week. Saints play 17 games, regular season. The Saints will win blank games in the regular season for 2025. Richard, I'll let you be the first guesser here.
I'd like to think they could win 6 or 7.
Richard will go high end at 7. Neil, what you got?
I'd like to think they could win that also, but I'm not real optimistic. I think 8 would just be an unbelievable year, but I hate to say this, but I think 5 maybe.
Whew, so you say 5 and 12.
I am not optimistic about the Saints this year.
Well, I'm probably about the same, but I'm going to give the fact that, and not really knowing the whole schedule about who they play and where they play them.
It doesn't make any difference.
I don't think it will, but I still think that they could somehow get to 6, maybe 7.
Let me ask you this, Richard. Does this mean that you're not going to rush home from church to see the kickoff?
No, I'll be listening to it on the radio.
Okay.
And then depending on how it's going, whether I'll turn it on when I get home.
Gotcha.
Is it the older you get, the lesser of a fan you become, or how does that work, Neil? You're the oldest here. Excuse me, you're the elderly here.
Elderly. Listen to them.
I've seen it in a while.
I'm just not optimistic about them. I'm a Saints fan from 1967, but they got a long way to go, and I hope Kellen Moore is going to be the answer. But it's going to be slow, I'm afraid.
Well, guys, as we well know, in every league we follow, it's all about what happens up front. And you can have the best quarterback in the world, and if you can't block nobody, you can't run the ball, and you can't have time to – What did I hear Bobby Hebert say the other day? He said back when – I forget where it was – he said when he was playing some team and they had great pass rush, he said it was 1,000 to 1 throw it.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that might be where we are this year. And in this league, it's just so tough to score points. And it's going to be tough. But hopefully we'll catch lightning in a bottle.
As the TA said, pajamas and slippers. You have to watch out for those guys. One final question. Was it the first time that you started following the Saints, Neil? Who was the quarterback?
Billy Kilmer, I believe. I believe I'm right.
What about you, Richard?
Well, Billy Kilmer, I knew Billy Kilmer was a quarterback, but really when I really started becoming a fan, I moved back from Texas, and a good friend of mine had season tickets, and I got to go, and that was when they drafted Archie. And so that's kind of what I knew Billy Kilmer was a quarterback, but Archie's when I really started being a fan.
AP Top 25 in college football comes out. Texas 1, Penn State 2, Ohio State 3, and then Clemson at 4, Georgia at 5, Alabama 8, LSU 9, Ole Miss at 21. 10 out of the 25 teams in the top 25 are from the SEC. Any surprise there?
Not really. I tell you what, though, don't overlook Penn State this year. I guess Ohio State gets more ink than they do, but I think Penn State is for real.
Yeah, I think so too, Neil. But I think it's more about who they're returning and what we don't know about Ohio State. And Robbie, it's the same teams, and we could shake them up, and you could put somebody else at number 1 and move them around. I don't think right now it matters. It's just numbers and sticking them somewhere. But I think they got the right teams.
Okay, I ask you this on the other poll. Neil, I'm going to give you the top 3. Texas, Penn State, or Ohio State, or the field. Which you taking for the national championship?
I'm going to go out on that limb and take the Nittany Lions of Penn State.
Richard, top 3, Texas, Penn State, Ohio State. You could have those 3, or you could have the field. What you got?
Well, we know how loaded Ohio State is. Penn State's got a lot of returning, and we don't know about the quarterback situation at Texas. We know who it's going to be. We just got to have it play out. anytime I have these things, Robbie, except when it was Tiger Woods, I take the field because I just think there's more opportunity for somebody to sneak up there. And all you got to do in the playoffs is play one bad game. And
that's, of course, provided you make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cole Inn has announced their new head baseball coach. Kyle Flester has got the job. He moves up from assistant coach to take the head reins of the Wolfpack baseball teams. Not really surprised at that, Richard. I figured this late in the year, and I'm sure Coach Flester has all the A, B, and C's to get the job, but you pretty well got to keep continuity, don't you?
Yeah, this late, Robbie. He had a lot to do, I'm sure, with the recruiting of the players he's got there, and to have a regime change this late in the season, as you just said, would mess up all that. So I think when you get to that point, you're ready to be a head coach. That's what you're coaching for, and I'm sure he knows the guys. He recruited, I'm sure, a lot of them, and I think it'll be what Colin needed and what they'll do.
One reminder, the North Pike Jaguars football this year can be heard right here on SuperTalk Pike County. Craig Davis will handle the play-by-play. And, boys, we're getting close to that, to say the least, a couple of weeks away before we get high school football kicked off. So get ready. Here it comes. We'll come back. Chris Brooks is next. We'll talk some high school football right after this. Takes the foul ball on this Friday morning. Guys, I got to admit before we get to Chris Brooks, I hate to admit to this, but I won't admit to it. I spent last night for about an hour and a half watching Jason and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's podcast.
You didn't.
I did. About an hour and a half of it. I broke.
You must have had nothing else to do during that hour and a half.
Braves won. I was happy. Unusual win. It's not bad, guys. I was really amazed. She's very well spoken. I mean, very intelligent. Of course, the Kelce brothers. Jason was Jason, but you could tell Travis was trying to be on his best behavior because she had his arm. So he didn't act up much, but Jason Kelce's just hilarious. He's crazy to watch. If you get a chance, it's worth watching part of it anyway.
I'll get a report from my granddaughter when I see her tomorrow.
So I just want to confess before we got any deeper. Yes, I did watch it.
So, Robbie, you're a Swiftie?
No, I'm a Kelce.
Okay.
It's a difference. It was their podcast. She was on it.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different.
So.
Enough of that. Mississippi Gridiron editor has joined us. Chris Brooks, how are you, Chris?
Doing good. You stole my joke. I was about to say I had no idea my friend Robbie was a Swiftie.
Not a Swiftie, I'm a Kelce. Get it right now. It was the Kelce's podcast. Swift was on the Kelce's podcast. But understand, it only drew a little over 1 million people. And in fact, it shut down the internet. It had so many people going to it.
That's crazy.
You got to be in the know there. You just got to be in the know, Chris. Before we get started, it's been a while since we've talked, to say the least. Catch me up on the boys. How are they?
Doing okay. My three, Connor he's at Jacksonville State now in Alabama pitching. It's his fourth year of college. This will be his junior year with eligibility. And then Caleb is in his second year playing ball at Cole Inn. They had a big year last year, and he had worked his way in the starting outfield spot there and had a really good year. So proud of him. And then my last one, my baby, he's a senior at Northwest Rankin with a chance to have a really good year. And excited for him. Kind of bittersweet a little bit as my wife and I are seeing the end of this high school thing and do the empty nest thing, but we've been blessed. It's been good.
It's hard to believe the oldest son is now in college. The article was about 5 years ago or so, last time we really talked. So kids grow up in a hurry, don't they?
Oh, my gosh. Now we're talking about marriage and like real life things going on, and you look around and wonder how I got here. But we're very fortunate.
When we talk about your magazine coming out, Mississippi Gridiron, what year is this?
God, unbelievable. We've done this for 16 years. It's been sick. This is the 16th one we've done. And we've done it different through the years as you kind of figure out, the best way to do this and what's possible. I like how we're doing it now, where we're not covering, all 320 some odd high schools. We're trying to single out the top 10 in every class, and I'm still covering everybody from the standpoint of, publishing all the players and trying to dig and find all of those, but you're focusing on the top 10 in every class and the top 25 overall. But and releasing that, of course, now you've seen we push that out digitally, which when you see the numbers on it and just the ease of doing it like that and just the logistics that aren't associated with it that you get in print, we should have done this probably a while ago. But anyway, I like what we're doing. We got that out this week. I'm working on a junior college one. The way we do this now, I can split them up. So we'll push out a junior college edition next week to get them kicked off, and we'll do a smaller version of this every week as we go.
As you look at the best at the talent across the state, is the high school football in 2025 going to be better than last year, about the same as last year, or is it a little bit below last year?
I think from a player standpoint, it's better. It's a much deeper recruiting class when you get into that type of stuff. And and for instance, I can't remember a year ever doing this with this many good offensive linemen. I don't know if that's I don't know what that is, honestly, because there's been a lot of years we didn't have a whole lot of offensive linemen, and this year they're everywhere. I was talking to a kid about that yesterday who doesn't have offers, and any other year he would. But it's a deep class in terms of recruiting. In terms of the teams, it's different because a lot of these teams, they don't have experienced quarterbacks coming back. And, that always has a huge impact on how the season plays out. So there's a little more uncertainty at the top. Tupelo has a new quarterback. Brandon has their quarterback back, Slade and Shack. But, Madison Central, a new quarterback, Starkville, all of those schools. Oak Grove is back. But a lot of places have new ones. But I think we have a chance to have a really good football season. If we broke this down a little deeper, the two teams that are just absolutely loaded is Tupelo, for one. Robbie, they have, for instance, Tupelo has an SEC senior running back. They have an SEC junior running back. They have an SEC sophomore running back. All of those kids with multiple SEC offers. And a lot of other SEC kids on that roster. And Brandon is in a similar place with just tons of talent on that team. So in terms of how good the football is going to be this year, I think it's going to be very good.
Chris, this is Neil Randall. Great to have you back on Chasing Foul Balls. We always enjoy you.
You too.
Here's a big question I've been seeing everywhere is about the Dandy Dozen and how only 2 of them have committed to in-state schools.
Right.
What's your take on that?
I don't really have a great answer for it. I think typically the easy answer would be, okay, it's such a good high school recruiting year to where there's just demand for these guys and they're choosing to go elsewhere. Okay, that would be the easiest way to answer that, but I don't really think that's what's happened. I think with the transfer portal, schools are hesitant to throw around the kind of money to high school kids that it's taking to sign these top guys. And when I say schools, I'm talking about our schools, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. It's one thing to go get a player that hits the portal from Alabama or Georgia that is already proven, and you know what you're getting if you're going to invest a couple $100,000. Because that's very different when you're taking a high school kid like that. And there's more risk reward that's involved with it. So I think that's part of it. But the other half of that is that I think the schools here in state view it as a situation they can come back at the end And if they really wanted to get that kid, they can throw out a huge offer and be able to flip him back before signing day. I know that's a thought with some of these guys. And it's an opportunity to see them play their senior year and maybe get a little bit more on them for some of these guys. Some of them are just, they're so good. I mean, obviously you're not even worried about it. You know what they are. But for some of these guys, yeah, you might want to see another year, not to see exactly how good they are, but am I wanting to spend $250,000 here on this 18-year-old kid? And I think that is definitely part of it.
Chris, this is Richard Hay. I looked at your website to kind of get some information about the redistricting and the new classification. And I guess my question is for you, as you cover the whole state, which districts changed the most and which ones became stronger? Maybe some became, I don't want to say weaker, but maybe some new teams. How has that shook out as they've made the reclassification this year?
I don't know if you can really put your finger on any one place that changed a ton. I mean, on all of these classes, you have 3-4 schools that are either moving up or down, and obviously that changes who the favorites are immediately. You know, for instance, like especially in the lower classes. So, like you go down to 1A, Calhoun City was already a really good 2A school. Okay, when they go to 1A, they are the overwhelming favorite to win that. They might not because you don't have the depth of numbers to overcome a whole lot of injuries at that level. But that completely changes the landscape in a 1A class when you have a school like that joins it. Baldwin is a school similar. You know, now they're in 2A. I'm trying to think of the one. I think it's in 2A where the way this thing shook out, you had 3 of the top 5 teams in 2A in one region. I think it's East Webster, Kemper County, and Velma, Jackson. And this is Velma moving up. But they're all in one of the 8 regions, and that's 3 of the 5 schools in that class. So you're going to run into that sometimes. It's not as big a factor in these bigger classifications when the numbers are bigger. It still impacts things, but maybe not necessarily a 7A. You know, when you have somebody move up to 7A, that's, you know, obviously schools hate that. Nobody wants to be the smallest school in any of these classes. So it's not going to affect there. But like in 6A or your South Panola, you know, not playing at that top level now, which isn't new, but them playing in 6A gives them a chance to win one. There's several schools like that on a 5A level. You know, Brookhaven is a good-sized 5A school. And honestly, if it wasn't for West Point just being West Point, which at this point I'm going to put West Point number 1 no matter what every year. But really, if you break it down on paper, Brookhaven probably has more players this year. Certainly more notable players if you follow recruiting. So they'll have a really good shot. Just to talk about a team that's, you know, local, they should have a great year.
Chris, this is Neil again. I saw a list just recently of the number of coaching changes in high school in the state of Mississippi. And it, you know, I've observed this for a long, long time, and it just seemed like a astronomical number of coaches changing. Can you comment on that, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, there was an uptick this year for whatever reason. I mean, not a drastic one from last year, but I think there were somewhere around 35 to 40 head coach changes. And I think last year it was somewhere around 30. So it moved up a little this year. But, I mean, when you're talking about 300, and I can't remember the exact number now, it's around 320, 315 to 320. And when you're talking about 10 to 15% of the schools with new coaches, and obviously that's significant. I think some of that is reflective of, I think schools are spending more money now than they ever have. Especially these larger schools, there's big money pouring into your Tupelos and your Brandons and your Oak Groves or any of those schools for facilities and I guess unique to the metro area. You have the transfer portal in college, and that's definitely trickling down some. And there is there's competition to have all of the facilities and have all of those things. But when you have those things, you have to win. and there's some more pressure, I think, in those jobs. And so you're seeing a little bit more moving around. But I don't know if it's anything just drastically different than I've seen in the past. It's a little bit more this year, but let's see what happens next year. And if it goes up again, then I think you really start looking around to ask what that's all about.
Chris, Richard Hay once again. We talked off air that you've been doing this for now. This will be your 16th year.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's changed a lot, but give me some big pointers about the way things you do it today versus when you started this really good publication, if you want to follow college football or football in general in the state.
The one thing I've had to get comfortable with is, we tried to cover college too, and honestly, it's too much, and that's being covered so well already. They don't need me to do that. I have a heart to do high school and junior college sports, which we cover other sports now in the postseason, especially baseball, because some of that's personal interest with my kids. But we bit off a whole lot at the beginning. But then you realize, that's not sustainable for life. Like, I'm taking years off my life here. You got to get a little bit of sleep. And so we've pared it down, and we're able to cover it much better now. But you still kind of have to come to terms with there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be a lot of mistakes, honestly. But the alternative is not doing it. So the new digital thing that we're doing, in some ways, it's a lifesaver. For instance, I know when I put this thing out on a Monday, nobody knows but me who I've talked to, who I haven't talked to, where I have a lot of information, and maybe in areas where I don't have a lot of information, because not everybody submits stuff to us. These coaches are busy. That's nothing against them. They have, especially smaller school coaches. Man, they wear so many hats. So I'm now able to put this out on Monday with a disclaimer. This is still the best content in the rankings you're going to get anywhere, because our rankings, we do base that off of coaches. So every ranking you see, except the only one that's not is the top 25, I put that together. But even that, I try to slot schools where they are in the class rankings. But all of the other rankings, they're from the coaches, which we probably get a couple hundred schools that submit. So there's 100 schools that don't. So I'm chasing that information. But whenever I put it together on Monday, I know there's going to be mistakes, but I've spent this whole week making changes, updating pages. I've probably made minimum 100 changes here and there, maybe more than that. So then by the time I get to the end of the week, and I try to stress this to parents and coaches, when it first comes out, that is not a finished product. Everybody's excited to see it and to read about high school football because it's almost here. But by the end of the week, today, I have what I would think is the best magazine I've put out yet in terms of the accuracy and who's in it, because I've heard from 50 to 70 coaches and people that let me know, hey, this is wrong, or this kid moved here, and by now that's probably as good as I can get it.
All right, Chris, the big question. How do we get Mississippi Gridiron?
The digital version is online now. So if you go to our website, it's Capital Sports MS, or you can use MS Gridiron or MississippiGridiron.com. They all take you to the same place. It's for free online right now. We'll have a JUCO edition next week, previewing those 14 schools, and then we'll have a weekly of these as the year goes along. I'll have links up this weekend. Try to make corrections first, get it right, and then Saturday we do about a dozen special covers for specific schools, and so we'll put up the same magazine with those different covers, and if parents want it, they can order direct copies that I really don't even have anything to do with. It's print on demand, so they can order it, printer prints it up, and ships it directly to them. So they can check back on the site this weekend, check tomorrow, and there'll be order information if you just have to have a print copy.
So MississippiGridiron.com.
Still MississippiGridiron.com.
All righty. One thing, a question of the day. Saints play 17 games this year. The Saints will win blank games in 2025 regular season.
Oh, no, Robbie. Look, I'm a lifer. I'm a lifer Saints fan, so that means I'm a pessimist, man. I don't get my hopes up. So like the Saints fan in me wants to put out a really, really low number. I'm not feeling good about this year, but like I'm guessing Vegas probably has them around 6 or 7 wins, I'm guessing, and that's probably close.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Chris, for taking the time to be with us. We'll be back with you during the football season, kind of update what's going on. Thank you, sir.
Anytime you need me. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Chris. That's Chris Brooks with Mississippi Gridiron. Make sure you go to MississippiGridiron.com and download that magazine. You'll have several days of reading to do once you download it. We'll come back. Chris, we'll talk with Cliff Furr right after this.
Sports. And now sports.
You're listening to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming everywhere on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank and brought to you by East Macomb Body Shop and Guy's Pharmacy. Now back to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5.
Welcome back. Thank you to Chris Brooks for taking his time to join us on this Friday morning. Now let's head up the road and talk to Cliff Furr, my buddy. He has a new website called Y'all Sports. It's all about the high schools in Southwest Mississippi. Let's talk to Cliff. How are you, sir?
I am good, Robbie. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. How did Y'all Sports come about?
Well, it's actually kind of funny that you had Chris on before me, because Chris is a guy that has been an inspiration for me. I spoke to him before I started this, and because I've kept up with Capital Sports. And there's been some other websites that kind of cater to certain areas of the state, and I would see them come down and give Southwest Mississippi a little bit of coverage, and I would think to myself, like, well, why isn't anybody doing that for this part of the state? And so I've been covering area schools for the last 7 years with a newspaper in Brookhaven, and I just thought to myself, hey, I could do something that focuses on a bigger area than I'm already focused on, and it would be good for our kids, it'd be good for our schools, and it's only about 2 weeks old, but so far it's been really, really awesome.
How do we get it, Cliff?
It's y'all. So it's YALL Sports SPORTS MS.com. That's the website. Game stories are posted there. Once the season starts, player of the weeks, things like that will be posted there. But then also on socials, just Y'all Sports on Facebook, on Instagram. Like yesterday, I went to the big cross country meet at Brookhaven High, the host, and posted pictures of kids running from North Pike and Lloyd Star, West Lincoln, Brookhaven High, just shining a light on everybody and trying to do every sport as well. We've been doing a lot of volleyball here recently, too.
If I took the dividing line being Pike County, what's the best high school football team this year north of Pike County?
That would be Brookhaven High. Brookhaven High this year is they're favored in 5A for a reason. They've got pretty much an entire roster coming back. They lost a couple of defensive backs. They lost a really good defensive tackle, but they had a really big group of young guys hungry to get their shot. And they've got a defensive end, Erwin Fields, who's been offered by Notre Dame, the entire SEC. And he's just one guy. There's a bunch of guys. When I look at Brookhaven High, I see, 9, 10, 11 future college football players going up. There's just a ton of talent there right now.
What about Pike County South? Who's the best team?
Well, I'm just getting into my coverage of Hazelhurst and Crystal Springs. I've been covering in Copiah Academy. I've been covering Weston for a long time. Jeremy Lloyd's a good friend of mine, and Weston's going to be good. They're back down in 2A. They are, I talk about Cobra culture. they are a team, when you go watch them in the summer workouts, they've got a ton of kids there. They're busting their tails, and Weston plays just with a lot of effort. They really get after it, and they've got a lot of young talent there as well. So I'd say Weston probably is the best team in that area.
Cliff, Neil, Randall, congratulations and good luck on this endeavor. You mentioned Brookhaven a minute ago, and we've heard a lot about them, but I guess the biggest story right now coming out of Brookhaven would have to be the coaching change.
Yeah, definitely. Tucker Peavy retired last year, kind of a shock for everybody because, you don't often have a coach retire with a whole team coming back after making the 5A semifinals. But Tucker has his grandson, senior, over in Central Louisiana, and he wanted to be able to go watch him play his senior year. And so Darian Dorsey was elevated, and Coach Dorsey was a kid that a guy that the kids really respected, a guy that the kids really wanted to get the job. He had been the head track coach, and as the head track coach, he'd won multiple state championships, and so it's his program now. I'm sure there are a lot of things that are going to be the same as they were under Coach Peavy, but then there's a lot of things that are going to be different. But one thing that's the same is pretty much the whole coaching staff is back. So I think there'll be a lot of continuity there as far as the way Brookhaven High does things.
Cliff, excuse me. Cliff, this is Richard Hay.
Hey, Richard.
We know about football this time of the year, and you've covered sports for several years, but talk about how it's changed with all the new sports coming in the fall. I mean, we had, I guess, football and softball, but now we got volleyball and we got soccer, and as you just mentioned, track. I mean, how has it changed now to what it was before, and your new outlet? How's that going to help?
Yeah, that's a great point. It has changed. This is the time of the year that we traditionally used to play like slow pitch softball, and when the MHSA went away from that, volleyball has sprung up. And I mean, Lloyd Star, they played volleyball like years and years ago, but they brought it back. And I sent my sister, who's a photographer for me on the site, I sent her to a game the other day. They were playing Lawrence County, and the atmosphere, the gym was packed. People were cheering, rallying for every point. It's just a lot of fun on a Tuesday night to be able to go and watch something like that. Golf is real big right now in Lincoln County. The MHSA, a few years ago, they moved golf to a fall sport from a spring sport because of all the rainouts and things like that. Softball going on the MAIS. So you're right, Richard. It's more packed now this time of year. We would be sitting around waiting for football to start. And so that's been exciting for me to be able to go and tell these stories of some of these volleyball programs and things like that. And we're still young in volleyball. I mean, Bogachita, Lloyd Star, Wesson, Lawrence County, they haven't been playing it nearly as long as some of the other people in the state. But if you watched Wesson in year 1 and Wesson now in year 5, they've got a whole lot better. And it's exciting because Southwest is playing the sport now, and that's more scholarship opportunities for our girls in the area as well. So if you haven't been out to check a volleyball game out, I would say go watch one. You'll enjoy it.
Cliff, this is Neil again. You mentioned Lincoln County, you mentioned Lawrence County, Copiah, and Pike. Just share with our listeners the area you'll be covering with y'all sports.
Yep. So it's right now. Initially, it is. I always try to list them out alphabetically. It's Copiah, Franklin, Lawrence, Lincoln, and Pike. I've had a bunch of folks from Amite County reach out to me and say, hey, come down here and give us some coverage. We've got a great little softball team at ASC, and I will. I think that's Amite County is kind of natural for us because especially like with Amen County High being in Region 7-2A with our local schools. And the reason that I picked those 5 counties are because there's so much crossover with, like yesterday, I sent my sister to cover a game for me with photos, and it was Franklin County at Brookhaven High. And so she shot both teams. Those pictures will be up later on our socials today. And so for years, people from Franklin County would reach out and say, hey, we want you to cover us when you were with the newspaper. And I was just kind of stretched thin because I was working for somebody else. But when you're working for yourself, that's a motivator like nothing else. So I'll be in Meadville covering Franklin County, giving them coverage just like I do our teams here. And yeah, maybe I'll expand it on out and Amen County and Wilkinson County and Walthall County, because when you talk about Southwest Mississippi, you're talking about those schools as well, those counties as well.
Well, thanks, Cliff, for being with us this morning and talking about your new website, Y'all Sports. And once again, how do they reach it?
Yeah, you can find me. It's online. It's YALLsportsms.com. Really excited. Got something coming out next week. It's going to be called our inaugural Y'all 22. It's like our football team for the 5-county area. And it's going to be a little spotlight of 22 of the best football players in those 5 counties. And it's tough. Just getting down to 22 good ones is tough in those 5 counties, because there's some good football that's about to be played between South Pike, Macomb, Brookhaven, and Park Lane, and some of these other schools. It's going to be I think it's going to be a great year for football in our area. I'm excited for it. Well,
thank you, Cliff. Appreciate you being with us. We'll be back with you during the season.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Big Daddy comes up next right here on Chasing Foul Balls. Good morning. Welcome back to Chasing Foul Balls Friday edition. Our thanks to Cliff Furr and Chris Brooks for joining us this morning. We go to Big Daddy. Let's see what's going on. How are you, sir?
Oh, doing fine, Robbie. How about you?
Oh, hang in there. You get the question of the day. Saints play 17 games this year in the regular season. How many games will the Saints win in 2025?
I'm going to go with 5 wins.
Oh, Lord, it's going to be a long year, guys, to watch Saints football, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, I'm afraid.
Second question. When you started watching the Saints, who was the quarterback?
Oh, Robbie, you're going to test me there.
I love to test Big Daddy.
I listened to the very first exhibition game they ever played. They played the Rams in Los Angeles on Saturday night, and I stayed up listening to it, or laying in my bed listening to it on transistor radio till about 2 o'clock in the morning. But I don't know who that after the exhibition game, I don't know who that quarterback was.
Probably Billy Kilmer if it was back then.
Yeah, probably so. I don't know whether he started immediately that first year or not, but he certainly started by the time they got into regular play.
All right, you've had 3 or 4 weeks with your Golden Eagles practice and reading about them and hearing about them. What's your feelings on the Golden Eagles now?
Well, I'm getting a little more excited about things. I certainly feel like we've got some talent, and I feel like we've got the coaching staff to do what we need to do. The biggest thing is how much depth do we have, and I think we got front line stars that can compete with anybody. I know especially on the offensive line, we just don't have the depth. We lost this player already, so we can't stand to lose any more off of it. That always would come into play, but I think we got something we hadn't had in a long time, and that's a legitimate starting quarterback.
Reese, this is Neil. I saw the other day on some publication where they were predicting that Southern Miss would go 7-5. I'd like to hear your reaction to that.
I think that's a good possibility. I picked 6-6 just to get a bowl game after what we've been through would be a amazing deal and a real shot in the arm. But it's just according to how injuries go and how quick this team gels. I think if they gel, they got an opportunity to win maybe 8 games. But I would say 6-6.
All right, Big Daddy, this is Richard. All right, I want to ask you this now. You got to take your Big Eagle hat off, and
that's impossible.
I know, but he's going to have to for this question. But he's a betting man, and
no, not really.
Point spread has come from 14 down. The last I saw was at either 11 or 11.5. If Big Daddy had to lay some money down, which way are you betting?
Ooh, Richard, you making me putting me in a little bit of a bind there. You know that.
That's one thing we like to do is put Big Daddy in a bind.
Well, I know if I was thinking that question to myself, I'm like, man, I tell you what, that's a lot of points.
Yeah, I don't know. I love my money, so I guess if I was had to play the smart money, I'd bet on Mississippi State.
Well, I think it's going to be close. I think I'd take the points and say, yeah. And as I've said the last couple of weeks, I just want to be in the lead with 3 minutes to go and us have the football because of what you just said about y'all's quarterback. I think that is something that I wouldn't want to have to face him in a 3 or 4 minute drive to win the game. That'd be something.
Well, let's hope it turns out that will.
Final question, Big Daddy. What kind of crowds are you going to have in Hattiesburg in week 1 and 2?
Oh, that's always hard to tell. And I've been diehard USM since 1975 as far as season ticket and attending games. One thing we've never done, and I don't know what it is about the crowd, but we never draw good during the day. But I think we'll do well the first game, and second game, I'm sure Jackson State will be fired up. It'll be close to capacity, I guess, both games.
Thanks, Big Daddy. We'll be back with you next week. We'll talk a little bit sports. Appreciate you being with us.
All right, Robbie. Thanks.
Big Daddy, Rich Dudley joining us to talk a little football there. Guys, another week down. I tell you what, Richard had mentioned we started chasing foul balls. How long ago, Neil? You're the historian here.
August of 2004, after a buffet luncheon at Ramada, and we wrote out what we were going to do on 2 or 3 napkins. And I'm sure you or Reese still has those napkins.
I probably do somewhere. But now we got a lot of folks covering sports in Southwest Mississippi, so it's better for everybody, no doubt about it. We're going to have a lot of fun next week. It'll be Chasing Foul Balls, Friday edition, right here on SuperTalk Pike County.
The music, keep the lights down low. I know it's late, but I don't want to go. Don't turn out the lights, the party ain't over. Well, the band just started to play my favorite song. I just found my baby and I want to get a chance to hold her. So don't turn out the lights, the party ain't over. I just want a little time to dance, and tomorrow we can sleep all day. Before tonight we'll let the music play. You remember how it used to be? I love the way that you would dance with me, rocking and rolling till the clock unwinds, and then we'd holler out one more time. Don't turn out the lights, lights, the party ain't over. Well, the band just started to play my favorite song. I just found my baby and I want to get a chance to hold her. So don't turn out the lights, the party ain't over. I said don't turn out the lights, don't turn out those lights, don't turn out the lights, the party ain't over.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.